Welcome everyone back to the channel. This is the interior of my R53 and this is what we're installing today. For the interior of the Mini we're installing a pair of bucket seats, we are replacing the headliner, improving the audio and putting back the OEM panels. The most challenging task will be to replace the headliner. I have never replaced the headliner before, nevertheless we will try our best and see how it goes. I have decided to go with a black suede option as it has a premium feel and it matches the plans I have for the interior. The first thing to do is to lay the new headline over the old one and find the correct orientation. I believe I have a rough idea of how everything will go, so I will start by pulling out the old headliner. There goes the old headliner. I will now clean up the surface and prepare the new one. Pretty much I scrubbed all of the old foam with various brushes. This process was repeated over and over again until the surface was clean. Now I'm currently debating with myself whether or not to actually do this job or take it to a professional, but I believe I will give it a go. I'm actually going to use this cutout in the middle as a reference to align everything up. Having started in the middle, I am spreading the adhesive smoothly to avoid clumps or thick spots. The headliner is gradually glued to the fiber board to minimize the risk of misalignment. Eventually the whole area is covered. At this point I'm using magnets to hold the headliner against the surface of the fiber board where it needs to follow its curvature. Clamps are then used to hold everything in place until the adhesive bonds the two together. We are halfway through the replacement and up to now everything goes well, so yeah, let's finish it up. The same process is repeated until everything is bonded together. And yes, I'm using whatever is within reach to ensure the best possible fitment. While the headliner dries out, I will cut some sound damping sheet to install on the roof. The surface is cleaned up and the damping mat is applied. The part that I have skipped in these clips is the one where I'm heating them up before applying pressure with the squeegee. I'm actually not going to put any material on this part of the roof as it has some dents that they need to get repaired once in the body shop, so that will be a waste. Before replacing the speakers, I'm going to apply the same damping mat along with sound deadening foam behind the quarter panels. As I'm very happy with the Alpine S series speakers at the front, I went with the same option for the rear. Now at this point I got a bit obsessed with the wiring loom. After cleaning everything up, I went to town with the cloth wiring tape. Even the wiring of the LED taillights was covered up. This took a lot of time, but at the end of the day everything looks way nicer. You know, behind the panels, where no one will see them, they look good. Let's go back to that headliner. After the glue dried out and I had enough available clamps, it was time to tackle the edges. The same technique was used, where an area was treated, then left to dry and move on to the next one. Eventually, everything was bonded together. As the last part of the headliner dries out, let's continue the sound deadening. It's time to do everything all over again on the left side. Once again, the factory speakers come out and everything gets cleaned up. Then the sound deadening goes in along with the new wiring. Finally, once again I go crazy with the tape covering the whole wiring loop up, and voila, another side completed. I will finally wrap the harness of the methanol injection tank and pump, which are located in the trunk. Now what's left to do is repair the thread on the battery mounting bracket and apply the sound deadening. Thankfully, this grimy rust came out with some brake cleaner and a lot of wiping. Now that the surface is clean, we can start applying the mat. Eventually, the whole trunk area was covered up. This turned out great, however, the pillars of the car are actually light grey. I was originally planning to replace them with some black ones that I found on a car that was for sale, however I did not manage to pull off that deal. So until I source some black ones, I will try to paint my original ones. I found this vinyl and fabric paint at the hardware store, and I will try painting a panel to see how it turns out. It's actually been a couple of weeks since painting the 3 panels, so let's see how they turned out and finish up the rest. The right side is almost perfect. Let's check out the rest. Okay, this one has a couple of high spots and pimples actually. So yeah, I'm going to give it a sand and paint it again. And the pillar trim, yeah, that's not good. So I'm going to also sand it down and give it another shot. Let me save you some time. The sanding and painting process took a while, and when I say while, I mean a lot of time. After several failed attempts, including the use of plastic primer and different spray nozzles, this was the end result. Everything turned out much better, so let's get it on and finish up. One final touch and the headliner will be fully ready. I'm going to actually use the rear view mirror to hold it in place in the front and the dome light to hold it in place in the middle. I will try to also use the seats as an extra support. Almost there. With a bit of persuasion, the pillars are put back together. At a point I thought that the plastic will snap, but thankfully it didn't. everything goes back together nicely. Before installing the rear panels, I need to sort out this wiring mess. This is actually the wiring of the amplifier and the subwoofer. The amplifier is currently below the driver's seat, where the original navigation unit goes. The subwoofer is in the trunk, however I'm planning to move it behind the passenger seat, and the amplifier we're going to replace it later on. Once again I went crazy with the insulation tape. The wires are routed along with the factory harness to the battery. As you can see here, I'm cleaning a third panel. Back in December, I picked up a 2003 Joe Kubelworks package Mini R50 that I ended up parting out. The panels I originally had were pretty scuffed, so I'm swapping them out for these ones since they are in a much better shape. With the rear panels in place, we now need to mark and cut the position for the K-brace bracket. The reef nuts have been actually installed already on the cart, as I'm running the brace for a couple of years now. However, I did not like the way that the brackets were protruding. Anyway, so now we need to make some new cuts and make them look as discreet as possible. Last night I was making too much noise with the Dremel, so it's actually the next day, so let's finish up. It looks good, let's see if it works. Eventually we'll get there. With the K-brace in place, time to move on at the front. My current amplifier is a 2-channel one, which is located underneath the driver's seat where the OEM navigation goes. We have to replace it with this 4-channel one, as we have installed the rear speakers as well. So yeah, the seats must come out, and afterwards we must replace them with the new copper ones. So much room for activities. This one will eventually go into the S2000. Unfortunately, I have to change the connectors of the previous wires to be compatible with the new amplifier and also rewire the new ones. So yeah, off to the time lapse. Now that the amplifier is finally in place, time to move on to their side to mount the subwoofer. Unfortunately, not many subwoofers fit under the seat of the Mini. I used to run this one in the trunk, however, as the space is very limited, I have decided to mount it behind the passenger seat, so let's do that. After successfully mounting the subwoofer without going through the fuel tank, it's time to wire it up. In total, there are 5 wires that we need to run. First, the volume control, which I will run into the glove box, the RCA, which goes onto the head unit, the remote start, which is already bridged on the amplifier so they can turn on together. And finally, power and ground, which power wire I have already routed behind the rear panel. And ground, I will find a good grounding point underneath the seat to mount them on. I believe the most neat option will be to make a hole next to the seatbelt bolt and then run the harness behind the subwoofer into the slot, and from there run the RCA cable through the same hole behind the side trim onto the head unit. Looks good. This Mini was made in 2004 and imported to Cyprus in 2006. The reason I'm telling you this is because there was a lot of knocking from inside the glove box. After a lot of shaking around, 40p came out. So I guess it starts to pay itself back. The final wire is the one for the remote control of the amplifier that I'm going to run behind the head unit and into the glove box. Done. We have the methanol controller, obviously for racetrack use only, the amplifier gain control and the subwoofer remote control. Time to connect the battery and check that everything powers up. As soon as I turn the radio on, both the amplifier and the subwoofer must power up. Time to play some music and tune both the filters and the gain. Now let's hide everything and move on to the bucket seats. For the seats, I went with this Cobra Pro Sport, along with the lumbar support in both sides. And with a few adjustments, I will mount them to the car using the supplied seat rails and brackets. The few adjustments involved a lot of test fitting and drilling new holes in the side brackets for the seats to fit properly. It was not a bolt-on fitment, and the reason I'm skipping the whole process is to avoid being liable for anyone doing the same thing and ending in a bad situation. I have run into an issue where the cover for the amplifier, which was originally the cover for the DVD player of the navigation module, is actually hitting the bracket of the rails handle, so it needs to be trimmed. This is the bit we need to cut. Yes, a working bench and a correctly mounted visor in the future plans. The sun visors and the A-pillars complete most of the interior. I actually had to park the Polo and take the Mini out for a couple of days. And let me tell you, after driving it, the Pro Sport seats are definitely worth the price tag. The limiting padding here at the bottom might become an issue on long drives, but overall they're okay. For sure, I cannot compare them to the Spoon Sports one that I have in the S2000 or to the Recaro pole position, but for less than half of their price, I mean, you cannot go wrong. Value for money, worth it. Now, let's finish up by installing the methanol injection tank in the trunk. We will start by making some brackets out of these aluminum pieces. It seems to be pretty straight, so now we're going to mark up its location in the trunk. This will be my temporary solution for now in order to get the car tuned. In the future, I will try to make a custom solution by replacing the washer fluid bottle for the xenon lights behind the front fender with a tank for the methanol and mount everything outside the cabin. But for now, this will work. Having established the position of the tank and the pump, I will now mark the holes where the floor needs to be drilled. It would have been much easier if I did the whole process before installing the sound damping sheets, as now I have to peel them off before installing the reef nuts. With the tank in place, I will repeat the same procedure to mount the pump. For a much cleaner look, I have decided to drill through this nice carpet, which is part of the rear seat delete. It's actually something that I don't really want to do, but I want to do it. Who cares? Let's do it. Having mounted the brackets and getting ready to cut the carpet, my clumsiness kicked in. After stitching myself up, let's continue. I'm not really proud of this, but I will wrap the brackets using this carbon wrap. One to go. Once everything is in place, the wiring is connected to the battery, the low-level sensor and the pump. Now let's wrap all of the wires and finish it up. For an improved rigidity, the inner bracket bolts to another mount behind the side trim. The hose is then connected to the pump and the tank is filled with a 50-50 mixture. Now let's connect the battery and check the system. And with that, we're ready for tuning. Now let's move on to the final step, which is to put the floor mats and the rear seat delete mat, and we're ready to go. It certainly took a while to finish it up, but time to check out the end result. Overall, I am very satisfied of how it turned out. The seats are the perfect size and shape. The cooler work shifter, which I actually installed just before starting the channel, feels amazing. And the black pillars together with the Alcantara headliner give it a much fresher look. What's left to do is to get it tuned and resprayed. That's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy the content. Thank you for watching and see you next time.